Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, fam. What's good, brethrens?
Peace, people.
Everything is told mayo.
Everything's told. Gang.
Okay. Yeah, we on. We up. You can't hear.
You can't hear yourself?
I can hear it just keep going in and out. It sounds like it's short.
It might be a connection.
Check your wire on the back end. Yeah. All right.
Good to go?
Good to go.
All right. So what's good, brothers?
It's all good, brother.
Hey, everything is well and good. Loved.
Everything is well and good. Loved.
Everything is everything.
Let's make sure we put them on some shirts. If you don't mind, brother.
Yeah. Fourth principal gear coming soon.
Merch.
That merch.
Hashtag merch.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Hey, shalom to all the listeners, to our family, friends, newcomers. Thank you for joining us today on the Fourth Principle. But we're gonna get right into this week's topic.
Okay.
So last week we got into discussing suffering. Like how we land there. Talked about a lot of different elements when it comes to suffering. Did y'all brothers have anything else on that topic that came to you about it?
You don't have to suffer.
Right.
We did get to that point.
We got to
last
the point.
week. Yeah, we did get to that point last week.
I just reiterated. You don't have to.
Right. And if you're thinking about suffering, it's not real. You're making it up. You're making a whole lot of it up as you go along. Because you're just feeding off your emotional attachment to whatever it is that's making you suffer.
Somebody might say they need their emotions though.
Well, they choose. I mean, you do.
You do.
Emotions do. They teach us things.
Yeah. But you don't have to dwell with them. You need do nothing. You could sit down on a rock all day if that's what you want to do.
If that's what you wants to do.
You don't need to do anything.
All right.
And guaranteed you're going to be taken care of. It's simple.
Right on, brothers. So this week we're going to have a discussion about going or transitioning from suffering to initiation.
Right.
The path of the Christ being. But before we get into that, right, I want to know what you brothers think about the idea of the Christ being.
Elaborate a little bit more on it for me. I don't.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Give me a little bit more.
No doubt. So when I say the Christ being, I want to know what you understand, how you conceptualize the idea of Christ. Is it a principle? Is it a person? Is it just an idea? Is it something nice to talk about? Does it point to something?
I would say it's all of the above.
I know you would.
It's all of it.
I was about to say the same thing. It's all of it.
But if you don't mind, could you provide our audience some availability into the modality of your thoughts when we talk about the Christ being?
Okay.
Go.
Oh, are you looking at me?
Oh, well.
Yeah, let you go ahead and
All
start.
right. Okay. So how I understand the Christ or the Christ being, there's only one being. There's only ever been one being everything and all things. That one being, it's kind of hard to put into words, but I'll try my best. And remember, I'm not saying this for anybody to believe anything I say. I'm just sharing a perspective. That one being, or as we say, the one, it manifests from nothing at all, and that nothing cannot be conceptualized truly. It has no name. It has no form per se, which is a paradox. It's just the void. And from that void, it manifests the full potential of itself, which becomes what we say, the one, or the Christ. And that entity, being light, that we call the Christ, becomes everything. All the way down, creating dimensions, different ideas, concepts, realities, so on and so forth. Angelic beings, whatever that is to you. I just call them God sparks. And all the way down to what we consider the physical reality in the various myriads of whatever that is. And it fractalizes. Well, all these versions from the one light down to these sparks are all fractals of it. They're not separate from it, but they can become conscious to see themselves as separate, which comes to us. Where the one manifested in many forms with the higher conscious is asleep within us, but not truly sleep, just dormant, to allow us to play out what we call life. So what I mean by that is, like, the fall of man, or the concept of the fall of man, is that divine consciousness ensouling itself in a physical form, which is limited to have an experience to learn about itself. So any story you hear of the Christ, whatever that is, whether it be, Yahshua, Jesus, that's a concept. You have the Karest, which is the Ka and the rest in Egypt, which is the Ka is the soul, or is it the spirit?
I want to say it's the soul.
The soul, and the rest is resurrection, the resurrection of the soul. So I don't think the soul is dead. The soul is dormant in the sleep. And when you are going back to the concept of Jesus, Yahshua, he came to speak to those other aspects, or that which was awakened in the human being in the story. That which was awakened in him came to wake up others' portions of himself, itself. That's asleep in each and every one of us, having these experiences. Doesn't matter your race, your creed, your belief, any of that. We're all one being manifested as us, as individuals, which is Christ.
Does that link in any way to the principle of I am?
Yes. I mean, if you go into the Hinduism, you have the Brahman, which is the creator. Then you have the Atman, which is the aspect of the creator that's each one of us, that's playing this game with itself, asleep to the knowing of who and what it truly is.
Okay. Right on.
So you're saying it's almost like you having a dream.
Yes, they call it the Lila. I think the word is Lila or Lila, which is the play of forms. Meaning, we have a saying like, nothing is neither created nor destroyed. It changes energy. It changes form.
Right.
So if you understand that everything is the energy, or the concept of the Christ, which is the word that we put on that one energy, it's just continuously changing different forms, playing with itself, learning itself.
Right.
That's my perspective.
Got it.
Right. Sounds great. I agree or don't. I would say,
say it how you say it.
As we here on this physical plane, what we kind of have to understand is that other beings, if you may will, angels, or however you want to explain it, they don't see us as physical. They see us as light beings, just like they are. We have interpreted the physicality of it because we have to experience, or we want to experience. We don't need to. We want to experience, like you said, each other, but experiencing our own selves and how we handle certain confrontations or ideologies or whatever it is. We all have to experience it. Let's say someone that's overseas or in China somewhere, they may experience the same thing I experience, but it's totally different than how they respond to it. I may respond in a different way than they would, but they're still learning as I learn.
Right.
So, and when we're talking about the Christed being, we're talking about being the higher state of mind and the state of being that I understand that comes forth from the Creator. And like you said, the void, if you can even, when you even get to that, when you get to that and understand that, I mean, that there really, when I understood that really like put my mind blue. It just really just made me, I mean, I think I went on a thinking path for about 2-3 weeks on just that void. I'm like, oh, hold up. What you mean void? Atheism came up in me. Now I'm like, oh, but I'm like, are they wrong? Are they right? So those things made me think. But me being that spiritually connected to that which is, I can see why they say they don't believe in a God. I get it. It took me a couple of weeks though.
Is it modern atheism or ancient atheism?
Well,
I would say concepts.
I would say modern.
Modern.
Now, ancient, we already know that goes to being one God or what have you. Similar. You can explain it to them.
Well, modern, I don't like speaking for the atheist because sometimes I don't really know what it is when they say I don't believe in. I guess they don't believe in a supreme being or whatever the case may be. They believe are they the ones that believe in like we're a divine, we're an accidents that happen and we just came to be.
Big Bang Theory.
Some. It's different. It's not set. But I do know the original, at least what it said. The original understanding of atheism is it was for those who were monotheists. People call them atheists.
The people who believed in one deity.
One deity.
Right.
The atheists were those who were calling those people atheists were saying they don't believe in the gods. And the thing that came to my mind was just interesting because we're gonna have to do it one day. I don't know if today's that day is actually on the fourth principle, redefining when we say what the Creator is.
Right.
Because a lot of people, when they read holy texts, not the Creator, well, the Creator and gods or gods. Mm-hmm. There are many gods.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
But there's only one source of all being. You can call that the Creator. But then when we talk about creators, you're talking about beings that beings of light and shadow that manipulated something that was already there. And I can't take away from the big G concept and the little G concept.
Right.
A lot of people do when they get into linguistics.
Right.
But for the purposes of what we're talking about, we're not having a discussion about linguistics.
We're not.
Right.
Okay.
It's an understanding that there's an overall source of everything. And from that, the sparks that come from that light, you can call those gods.
So are you talking more about like a hierarchical structure?
You can look at it that way. You can look at it that way.
Okay,
and you won't be wrong.
So for the purpose of our audience,
mm-hmm.
how are you framing this narrative?
What do you mean? Like what aspect of it? What I just said.
So like you said, well, we can look at it as a hierarchy.
Right.
Right. From the overarching idea,
okay,
which is the source of all.
Right.
From that are its fractals.
Yes.
Right, which we call gods.
Right.
Beings of light.
Beings of light.
Beings of shadow.
Beings of shadow.
Who all have the ability, well, they co-create.
They co-create.
Right. And they co-create, and as they co-create, we develop narrative.